Hey everyone, it's Melinda here. This is going to be my Soupilicious soup recipe. I am making beer cheese soup, and let me tell you, it is delicious. The recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of margarine, 1/2 cup of chopped onions, 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of worcestershire sauce. I cannot say that correctly. 1 12 fluid ounce can or bottle of light beer, and I have the 7-ounce bottle, so I'm going to use 2 of those. 1 can of chicken broth, the 14-ounce can. 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. 2 cups of half and half, and 3 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. And for a garnishment, real bacon bits. So that is all of the ingredients you will need. So let's get started. Okay, over medium heat, we are going to be melting 1 tablespoon of margarine in your pan. Okay, once that is melted, we're going to add 1/2 cup of onions. We're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic, and then 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. That's 1. And 2. And then we're going to stir this really well. I'm going to say about a minute and a half maybe. This is when you would add, if you want broccoli, add broccoli. If you would want carrots, add carrots. Or celery, you'd add it in with this if you wanted that in your recipe, because you can add those to the beer cheese soup, but I'm just keeping it simple. You can probably tell that this is the eye that I cook on the most, because it's not the best. Okay, and then after that, it says to add your beer. So we're going to do that. I bought the little 7-ounce little bottle, so I'm going to use about 1.5 of these. There's 1. And about 1/2 of the other one. And then the recipe calls for high heat for about 3 minutes, just to evaporate all of the alcohol in the beer. And it wants it to be a pretty good boil. Well, it wants you to bring it to a boil on high heat and let it boil for 3 minutes to evaporate the alcohol. Then next we are going to be adding the chicken broth. And that calls for 1 14-ounce can of chicken broth. So I have it on high heat. I'm waiting for it to start boiling, and then I'm going to put my timer on for 3 minutes. So I know it boils for exactly 3 minutes. And when we come back, we'll be adding the chicken broth. Okay, it's still boiling. We only got 22 seconds left. And then we're going to add our chicken broth. I forgot to tell you guys to take 3 tablespoons of chicken broth and put it in something because we're going to use that for one of the ingredients here in a second. Okay, so we're going to add our chicken broth. And this is the can that I bought. It's 14 ounces, 14.5 ounces, which is fine. And then it wants this to come to a boil also. And then once this comes to a boil, we're going to lower the heat to medium-low. And then we're going to lower it even more to simmer. And then we're going to let it simmer for a couple minutes while we combine the 4 tablespoons of cornstarch with the chicken broth and set it to the side. And then we're going to add half and half and the shredded cheese to the soup and stir continuously until the cheese melts, and then stir in the cornstarch mixture last. But we're going to stir constantly until the soup is very thick, which is about 2 minutes. And then we're going to serve it with bacon bits. So when we come back, we'll be adding the half and half and everything. So what I need you to do is take the cornstarch and add 4 tablespoons of it into the 3 tablespoons of chicken broth that you put in a cup. And then after you do that, we'll be back. Okay, since our soup is simmering, we are going to go ahead and add the shredded sharp cheddar cheese to the soup. The bags I have are 2-cup bags, so I'm just going to dump the whole bag right in there. And this is 1 more cup to make 3 cups of shredded cheese. And then we're going to add our half and half. And then we're going to stir constantly until the cheese melts. And then we're going to keep on stirring and add this cornstarch mixture, which is what I told you guys to make up while we were gone, which should look like this. It's 3 tablespoons of chicken broth and 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I just mixed it together really well to where it's like smooth. So just sit here and stir. It usually takes a little while for the cheese to get melted. So just keep on stirring until your cheese is all melted. And then when we come back, we will add our cornstarch. Okay, well the cheese is all melted. Now we're going to add our cornstarch. This is what gives it its thickness. If you find that the soup is still a little too runny for you, you can add more cornstarch. It's not going to hurt anything. And then we're going to stir this for about 2 minutes. I usually set my timer. And fill the cornstarch. Like, it gets really thick once you put it in there. So that's the reason why you have to stir constantly until the soup is as thick as it needs to be, or as thick and happy as you like it to be. And then after this, it's done. Like, this is just a really quick, easy recipe. Like I said before, you could add broccoli, you could add carrots, you could add celery. A lot of other things you can add to your beer cheese soup. This is a really good recipe for like football parties and stuff like that. Maybe going to a hockey game, you can put some in thermal. See, it's starting to thicken up for me. Got about 30 seconds left. All right, and that is it. It is done. And I will show you what it looks like in a bowl with some bacon bits on top. And this is what it looks like all done. It is delicious, and I hope you guys enjoy this recipe as much as I do. Bye.